everyone, I'm Gemma Beall and welcome to Attaining the Second Cognition. Last week in my intimidation video, I shared with everyone the biggest hurdle on my life and psychopath. In this video, I'm going to share with you my second biggest hurdle on my life and psychopath. The hurdle is not a simple one-word concept. It is several concepts heavily entwined. So the name of this presentation is, It's Meant to Be, or Is It? Before I begin, I want to take a moment and explain something about the work that Endel and I are doing now. I shared in the bigger picture video that Endel and I would be writing our own scripts and producing our own videos with our individual perspectives of our experiences. The reason we are doing this is because even though we have shared experiences, our perspectives differ from each other in a lot of cases, and even though we agree with the overall conclusion of the experiences. I see a lot of times that people will get into arguments disagreeing about how others perceive the experience, even though they agree with an overall assessment. This is to show others that arguing over points of view or mental impressions in most cases is a fruitless endeavor, especially when you agree with everything else. Being that Endel and I are not collaborating on these videos, there will be some overlapping in presentations on content. We are both writing what we are inspired to write, and that inspiration comes from within. It is only after we've written our scripts that we share it with each other. We aren't kicking around ideas and flipping a coin over who's going to write what. Endel has chosen to view my scripts once they have been posted, so he can have the experience of hearing what I share as you do. I, on the other hand, get a glimpse of his scripts as I produce the videos. As an example, the script for this presentation I wrote and recorded last night, but wasn't able to get the video finished and posted last night. Today he wrote a script called Are You Really Creating Your Own Reality that he was inspired to write today, and after hearing the script, what he shared was totally in line with what I had written and recorded yesterday, and he also covered some other topics that I have ongoing in scripts in the works. So I'm going to share with you my script with my point of view, and at the end I'm going to share some of my perspectives on what he shared in his video. Now on to my presentation. In my book, The Energy Experience, I told about my struggle early on my path with searching for my life's purpose. I, like most people, come into our psychopaths looking for our life's purpose while we're still operating from a point of ego. The single most asked question I've had from others is, what is my life's purpose? Well, I can tell you folks, the answer to this question is far more complex in the first cognition of reality, because it all depends on what purpose means to you and what you believe destiny or fate has in store for you. But for us second cognition folks, the answer is very simple. Whatever your intent creates it to be. We are led to believe from very early ages, for a lot of us, that our lives have been pre-planned and preordained by God or some other higher being. We know all about destiny and fate from watching the Lifetime channel because, our Mr. or Mrs. Right, our soulmate, is out there searching for us, and fate will surely bring us together sometime soon, don't you know? Then you have the New Agers telling us that our purpose is that of being a healer or this or that or the other. And then there are a few that are, the second coming of Christ and all that type of bullshit. The ego gloms onto these alleged destinies and fates and life purposes because they give the ego comfort that something else is in control, leading them around by the proverbial nose and taking away all responsibility of making their own life choices and creating their own life. I mean, seriously, it's a huge responsibility to create one's own life, but it's easy to let others do it for us, and we all know from experience that the ego loves evading responsibility. The ego does this because it is what it's been conditioned to do throughout our whole entire lives. There's a theory in the field of psychology called the self-fulfilling prophecy. This theory states that a self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true by the very terms of the prophecy itself due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. We've mentioned this theory in some of our other books and in several of our videos about how this belief in things can and does mold and shape our lives through the belief. When you believe you have a purpose that was established before you came into your life, then you alleviate your own personal choices during your life of creating your own life in the here and now. And you accept any shit that comes into your life without the thought that you actually have the power to change it. Every religionist clings to the biblical prophecies because they all appear to be coming true from a prophetic point of view. But the question I ask, is the prophecy coming about because it was foreseen, or is it coming about because humanity has been indoctrinated by these faulty religious beliefs through so many generations that it has molded our beliefs and behaviors in order to bring the prophecy to life through these deeply held beliefs? Is it something foreseen or something created with specific intent by these doctrines? The definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. If you believe your purpose was established before this lifetime, then your belief will limit other purposes you have the option to choose in the here and now. In my book, The Energy Experience, I said, these questions are ego questions and questions designed to make your ego feel important. But from the second cognition, these questions are not questions of the Soika, because your Soika knows who you are, why you are here, and knows your purpose if you have one. In a later part of the book, I also state, I know early on my path I felt as though I had a purpose, some divine purpose that made me special to this world. That was ego thinking, and my ego wholly supported my quest to live out that purpose. Through walking my path and learning what I've learned and knowing what I know, once the ego was put aside, I came to know that I do not have a purpose. I came in with a plan, but not a purpose. I am not special, and I'm not here to change this world. I'm here to change my Soika. By changing my Soika and tapping into the knowledge and experience of this life and of my Soika, I'm gaining understanding about this universal reality and what needs to change. From that point of understanding, I'll do what I can to help make the changes in this reality and the spirit realm. That's my plan. If I would have continued on my path with my Hapim monster still in control, I would have continued to live out some purpose of someone else's design, not mine. At that time, I still firmly believed in destiny, or at least some part of it. I had outgrown the belief that our lives were written in stone before we came in, but we chose our own destiny beforehand, so there were still things that would happen in my life beyond my control to alter it in the here and now. The definition of destiny is the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person or thing in the future. Another word that is closely entwined with these two principles is fate. Fate is defined as the development of events beyond a person's control, regarded as determined by a supernatural power. When you look at your life and your path, do these three words have any influence over you through the form of beliefs? Have your belief in these three words influenced your life in a negative way? For me, my belief in these three words kept me stagnant on my Soika path. At the time, there didn't seem to be any negative association with the beliefs, but in hindsight, the negative, it was very apparent, and that was that these beliefs did hold me back on my path and leave me in a point of stagnation until I discarded them. They are just like any other belief. They are anchors to impede spiritual growth if that is the choice you make or the choice that you don't make. The indoctrination that we've had put on us have conditioned us to a certain belief and behaviors that have controlled us without us even realizing it. Part of the shedding of what doesn't serve our path is how we let go of these limiting beliefs, claim our Soika, and move forward. In an upcoming video, Weapons and Tools, I'll be talking about things in our lives that are used against us as weapons and how we can take those weapons and turn them into tools for our cognitive development. For this presentation, though, I say we nix the word fate entirely because its definition limits our choices in the here and now. The word fate has no place in the second cognition because nothing that happens to us is beyond our control, not even the things that happen without us having a choice in it. Even then, it may happen, but we have the choice to alter how we respond to it and the outcome. A secondary definition of purpose is have as one's intention or objective, or in second cog, have as one's intent. When we reclaim our power and remove our indoctrination, our intent becomes our purpose, when that intent is used to create our lives as we program our own realities instead of others doing it for us. If you feel your Soika has a purpose, then you remember what that purpose is. If you can't remember it from a Soika perspective, then you create that purpose with your intent in the here and now. By creating your own purpose through your own intent, you are creating your destiny for your future from your own intent and not relying on the fated intent thrown out by others. Although I came in with a plan instead of a purpose, I chose to create my own purpose on my path by focusing on changing me. I created another purpose on my path by choosing to share my journey with others, so others have a different perspective to consider on their own path where their journey is concerned, so they could begin to create their own purpose and not embrace a purpose that others have conditioned them into embracing as a belief. Here are some questions to ask yourself. What does purpose mean to me in regards to my life? Why does it mean this to me? What does destiny mean to me in regards to my life? Why does it mean this to me? What does fate mean to me in regards to my life? Why does it mean this to me? Do I hold any beliefs or think that things in my life are meant to be? If so, why do I think they are meant to be? Do you have any situation or relationship in your life that you felt was meant to be but didn't happen? If so, why do you think it was meant to be in the first place? If you notice throughout all of our videos and in our written works, we refer to intent rather than intentions. In this script, I've referred to it over and over again. In Endell's video, Are You Really Creating Your Own Reality?, he goes into detail about explaining what intent really is versus the intention that is touted in the New Age. I have explained this in both my books, but I've always been hesitant to share it publicly in the videos because there is a huge responsibility in working with intent rather than intention, and egos do not need to understand this difference because there is power with intent, but not so much with intentions. For a simple analogy, intention is like a temporary tattoo. It shows a picture, but it can be altered and changed because it's not permanent. Intent is like a permanent tattoo. Intent is another concept that is very difficult to understand in words alone, but it is a knowing and an energetic feel that even those that aren't energetically sensitive will be able to feel. Intent is created by knowing and thought. This is why it is important to understand what thoughts you have in your mind when you are working on creating your reality. Although language isn't necessary for the manifestation of intent, verbalizing the thoughts through words lends more power to your intent. The reason that Theosophists don't want anyone that is not one of their adepts understanding what I've just shared is because stealing energy from the environment that others throw out with their intention is easier to co-opt and steal because the intentions are not solid. They can be erased with intent, but your intent in your energy cannot be removed, and it is much more difficult to steal and claim even for an adept. Look at the examples that Endell used about the mass harvesting events. When you look at that with this information in hand, ask your Soika, are these valid observations about the energetic world at large? I'll let you consider this within your own mind. There's another thought I want to leave you with at the closing of this, just something to consider with your own mind, and it's something that I actually had the opportunity to say to somebody the other day. When you refuse to establish a comfort zone, you will always find yourself comfortable in any given situation. I want to thank everyone for watching and considering this information and for subscribing. I hope I've left you with plenty of information to consider. I'm Gemma Beall. Until next time, stay the course and don't give up on yourself.